Sentire Media.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to another episode of A New Life in Italy. I'm Samantha Wilson, and today's episode is one of the most important ones that I think I've ever done. Because I'm not here to just talk to you today about how to get a visa or where to find the best aperitivo. I'm here to talk about something a little deeper. You see, we always talk about the excitement of moving to Italy, that fresh start, the slower pace, daily espressos, or going to the market. Or we talk about those dreamy homes that are tucked away on some little Italian, Tuscan hilltop town. But what we don't talk about enough is what happens after the dream starts to take shape. What happens when the real life kicks in? This episode is for anyone who's ever thought, will this move fix my life? Well, maybe it will, but maybe it won't. And today, we're going to talk about both. Let's get into it. I'm Samantha Wilson, Chief Dreammaker at smartmoveitaly.com, and this is A New Life in Italy, a show where each week I take you behind the scenes of what it's really like to move to Italy, introduce you to some fascinating people, answer your questions, and show you how starting a new life in Bel Paese is possible for you. Let me start by saying this. I love Italy. Now, you know I do. And for a lot of people, including myself, it is the best decision that they've ever made. And Italy is breathtaking. Yes, it's true. And it does have a way of waking up your senses and reminding you to live fully. But Italy is just a country. You are the one that will be responsible for letting change happen in your life, not Italy. But moving to Italy doesn't really fix everything, and no one really tells you that. What people tell you is this. They say that you will have an amazing adventure, and you probably will. That you'll meet incredible people, and you probably will. And that you'll finally feel like you are living in alignment with what matters most in your life, or what you think matters most in your life. And that, of course, the food is better, and the prices are lower, and the wine flows, and the sunsets are magic. And honestly, all of that can be true. But there's another side to it as well. Here's what they don't always tell you, that you are going to grieve. You will feel a sadness and a loss for the part of your identity that you didn't know that you would have to let go of. And it's lonely. It's lonely not having friends who know your backstory. That feeling of being seen and understood without having to explain everything that you do and think and feel. That starting over, really starting over, means explaining yourself over and over again just to feel understood. And that ability to communicate without thinking twice is gone. That when your new friend doesn't laugh at your joke, it's not that it wasn't funny, it's just that they don't know the reference. They don't have your culture. And that your past life, the one that you built for decades, suddenly feels very far away, almost like it belonged to someone else. And suddenly you're building new relationships from zero. You are reintroducing yourself over and over again, and you want to connect, but you also don't want to overshare or sound like you're bragging about your own life. It's a very hard balance to find, and it's very tiring. We have a therapist that works with our members inside A New Life in Italy, and she helps with this transition. And I remember one member decided to move to Italy after her divorce, and she was ready for this really fresh start. She sold her house, she packed her things, she got an elective residency visa, just like a lot of people do. And she even found this her dream place in Umbria. And in the first few months, actually several months, it was just magic. She was overjoyed, super, super happy, and really happy with her choice and her life, and her friends and her family were visiting her, and all was really good. But then winter came, and her Italian really wasn't good enough. It certainly wasn't fluent, and definitely not enough to make these deeper connections with local people. And then she realized that she didn't have a single friend to call locally when she was feeling a little bit down. Her support system was 6,000 miles away and 9 hours time change. And she explained that she was looking for this silence, for this peace, and that she got all the silence that she was craving, But now she was sitting in it, and it was so loud. The silence was deafening to her. And that's the part that people don't see on Instagram, because who wants to post all that? I mean, it's embarrassing, and it's contradictory to what you promised yourself and your families that your life would look like or life would be when you moved to Italy. And then something strange happens. Your identity also starts to shift, because what you thought defined your success might no longer apply. I mean, you might have been your boss, ran a big company in your career, or the go-to person in your community. You had a rhythm, a role, and a place. And now you are the outsider. You are the immigrant. You are the one that doesn't quite fit in. The one who looks different, who sounds different, who dresses and acts differently. And trust me, you will be reminded of this constantly. You are now the one who doesn't quite get the same systems or understand the jokes. And it can make you doubt yourself. I remember one woman saying to me that she had never felt so invisible in her life, which was so contradictory to what she thought she was going to feel when she moved here. And she was used to being seen back in her home country. She was well known. But here, no one knew that she had this master's degree, that she was an expert in what she did, or that she'd built a successful company, or that she raised 3 kids and beat cancer. You go from being someone to being just someone new. And that is disorienting. And it doesn't mean that you made the wrong choice, but it does mean that you need to give yourself some grace. This is the rebirth, kind of your rebirth in a way, and those are rarely comfortable. You start to wonder, did I make the right decision? Why is it harder than I expected? Shouldn't I feel happier? And maybe you don't want to admit that it's not all sunshine and spritzes. But I'm here to tell you that it's all part of the process. Because eventually there will be wins. They'll be slow, but there'll be wins. You'll realize that you've gone to the same cafe enough times that the barista starts to recognize you. He knows your order and he serves you without even asking. Or you pick up your phone without letting it ring through or panicking, and you understand what the caller is asking, and you have a brief conversation without any help at all. Or maybe you're in the butcher shop and you understand a joke well enough to laugh with everyone else inside instead of nervously pretending that you understand it all. You know, those fake laughs. I've been there. I get it. And that's when the magic happens, not because your life is now fixed in Italy, but because you're growing in ways that you never could have back home. You start to feel like you again, maybe just a new version. Because what I've learned, and remember, I've been exactly where you are once, that the most profound growth comes in these quiet, uncomfortable spaces and moments that I'm referring to. They remind you that you are building something new, that all those uncomfortable, wobbly, awkward days are adding up to something that really matters. Because here's the truth, moving to Italy won't magically make your problems disappear, but it will give you the space to become who you really are or who you thrive to be. And that, my friend, is priceless. There's a kind of freedom in being unknown, a chance to shed the parts of you that weren't working and rediscover the ones that make you feel alive, inspired, and purpose-driven. It is very scary, trust me, it is. But it's also really empowering. Just don't be so hard on yourself. You're learning a new way to live. You have to give it time. And it's not always comfortable, but it is transformative. So listen, I'm not saying all of this to scare you or scare anyone off. I'm saying it because I wish more people told the truth about what this journey is really like. And if you're thinking about moving to Italy to escape something, maybe it's burnout or heartbreak or politics, or just a boring chapter in your life, it might work. But eventually your real life will catch up with you. So you have to have a better purpose. And if you're sitting there thinking, I really want this, I really want to move to Italy, but I'm super scared, well, here's what I want you to know. First, you have to be honest about your expectations. Italy is wonderful. It really is. But it's not a fairy tale. It is a real place with real challenges, and you will be living a real life here. Some days are good, some are bad, and some are just really boring. And that's not really a bad thing. It's just life. And then build a support system before you need it. And this is really important. So connect with people online maybe that have made the move and ones that are succeeding in the move. Try to stay away from those complainers, the ones that gave up. And instead of deciding that maybe the new life wasn't for them, they decide to blame others or Italy for their problems. It's not Italy's fault. Italy hasn't changed and won't change for centuries. They are the ones that haven't changed. So you have a responsibility to make an effort and reach out to others to begin building your new tribe. This is important here. You need to have a support system. And remember, asking for help isn't a weakness. It's just smart. And then I want you to think about celebrating the little wins, even the little tiny ones, like the first conversation that you understood, the day you didn't cry from a frustrating appointment or feeling super embarrassed or really stupid, the time that you navigated public transportation without a complete meltdown or panic. Now, these are all victories, and maybe back in your home country, these are really super simple tasks. But in your new life in Italy, they are really big accomplishments. So give yourself credit and a pat on the back because it isn't easy. Now, I still swear that if you get one thing done in a day here, it's a win, so celebrate them. And then I want you to think about creating rhythms. You won't rebuild your whole life overnight. It's going to take time. And ultimately, it will look different from what it used to be and probably from what you thought it would be. But you can still have these small rituals, like a morning coffee at the bar, a weekly market trip where the same vendors will start to recognize you and realize that you aren't a tourist, and they start treating you differently. Or maybe go to an Italian lesson, and that will introduce you to others who share the same struggles and the same triumphs. Learning a language online is fine, but having somewhere to go to physically every single week provides structure and a purpose, and it forces you to go out. Humans are creatures of habit, and familiarity is what most foreigners miss here. So focus on creating your own routines and familiar faces and places inside your new community. It does feel amazing to walk down the street and people wave across the street because they know you. Yes, you will be a foreigner living in town. You're never going to change that. But you will also eventually be just you who lives across the street. Now, most importantly, don't romanticize or even demonize your new life. It will not be perfect, and it doesn't have to be. Your life in Italy can be real. It can be messy and beautiful and super complicated because the real growth happens when you build something new from scratch, when you face the discomfort and come out stronger and more grounded and more at peace with yourself. So then the question is, how long is all this going to take? Well, it's going to take you years. It'll take you years. So if you're right now in that awkward middle space, that what have I done phase, just hang in there. You're not alone. This is the point in time where you learn the most, where you realize that a fresh start doesn't erase the past. It just helps you carry it differently. Italy won't fix your life, but it might help you rebuild it in a way that feels more you. And that might be exactly what you need. It's time for listener questions. Just like the old radio call-in shows, my team has picked 3 listener questions, all left on our voicemail. I have no idea what these questions are, but I haven't been stumped yet. Are you ready? Let's get started. All right, question number 1. Do I need to speak Italian to move to Italy, or can I get by with just English? Well, super common question, and I think you know the answer to this. Yes, you're going to have to learn Italian. Now, you do not need to be fluent, and you do not need to believe that you must be perfect in 6 months or even 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. You never really have to be perfect. We had an Italian language teacher who was so great because she said, it doesn't matter at the beginning if you're getting every single thing absolutely correct. You should be just striving to communicate just enough to understand each other, and then from there you'll build. And I always thought that was the best advice because we can get into our own heads and worry about, being perfect and not being embarrassed, especially the older we get. So yes, you're going to have to learn to speak Italian, but give yourself some time and study and practice and have a balance in your life. You don't have to go in like crazy and think you have to learn it in 6 months. It's a journey just like everything else. Question number 2, how long does it really take to feel settled after moving to Italy? Well, this depends on who you are, and it depends whether or not you've moved here on your own, if you already have a network, if you've come with your family or your spouse, or the type of person that you are. If you're a little bit of an introvert, then it might take you a little bit longer because the culture, Italian culture, tends to be a little bit extroverted. So it might be more uncomfortable for you to be, going out and being touched as much as you are, or being in such close proximity to people. So your comfort zone, or finding that spot where you're really settled and your routines are settled, might take a little bit longer for you. And if you're here by yourself and you've just said, that's it, I'm moving to Italy, it's been my dream all my life, good for you. But this also might take you a little bit longer. What we have found with all of the people that I've met and helped move to Italy is that if you want to be social, or you do want to meet people, you will not have a hard time doing that. You really won't. Now, it'll probably be people from your own country at the start, but eventually they will introduce you to people that they've met locally, and then your tribe will start to grow. But don't think it's negative to start hanging around with people from your home country, maybe not even your home country, but that speak your language at the beginning, because you really do need this support, and it's perfectly fine. It might take you a year, it might take you 5 years. I think most people really aren't really thinking that Italy is home. You really call it home for at least, 5 to 10 years. Takes a long time. Question number 3. What's the best visa option if I want to move to Italy, but I am not ready to retire? Well, you know what? Great question, because we have a lot of people that call and they want an elective residency visa because it seems to be the most popular one, but it's a visa that you cannot work on. So if you're still working or want to still work, you have very few options in Italy to move here on a visa. This is if you're a non-European citizen. The most common ones will be a digital nomad visa, and that, of course, is whether or not you're working remotely and you have a university degree. You can also work on the investor visa, which is, in my opinion, the best visa in Italy. It literally gives you everything you need. And then there's also work visas or blue card visas, which are more challenging to get and a little bit more technical. But if you want to work in Italy, there are more challenges, or there's really just a limited number of visas that you can qualify for. If you're not sure which one, head over to our website at smartmoveitaly.com/ and then visas, you'll see it. And we have a visa guide, 2025 visa guide, that will help you decide which one is best for you. Well, that's all for this week's episode. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions about visas, citizenship, property, and, well, really anything about moving to Italy that you would like me to answer in an upcoming episode, please feel free to send us a voicemail at our website at smartmoveitaly.com/podcast, or just click on the links in the show notes. Thanks again for listening, and remember, you can find all of the resources and the links to the people and the places that I mentioned in this episode inside the show notes. Ciao for now. A New Life in Italy podcast is a production of Sentire Media, created and hosted by me, Samantha Wilson. Production by London Nero, and with special thanks to Ali Frothingham, Sofia Pisana, and the entire team at Sentire. Follow A New Life in Italy wherever you get your podcasts. And hey, if you're thinking of moving to Italy, whether full-time, part-time, or for a lifetime, come and see me over at smartmoveitaly.com, and we'll help you get here and start living your best life. And don't forget, if you love this episode, please rate and leave a review. It's much appreciated. I can't wait to meet up with you again next week, same time, same place. Ciao for now.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. and we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com, that's SENTIRE media.com, and find out how to submit your show.